Okay.
Oh, here it comes. He knows the villain walk. New York. Here we go.
Here we go.
Just say there's been a trade. Watch this place explode.
It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
I love how Pennie goes on mute, by the way. Like, he'll talk, like, thinking that we can see it.
Ousmane Dieng.
Whoa.
So
didn't have that on the board.
Trade.
Yeah. So in the comments here, it looks like this pick is going to be traded to Oklahoma City, according to Jacob. Do we have a confirmation on that from someone? No details yet, is what Jacob is saying. Who tweeted that? Can we get some sort of confirmation? Because I want to credit them. Multiple first round pick. What the fuck?
What was it?
You have 12. They're not taking Ousmane Dieng.
Wait, what? Ousmane Dieng's on the board. What are you talking about? What are you yelling about?
Well, I mean, like the Knicks are taking Ousmane Dieng, but like if this was their pick and they weren't making the pick for Oklahoma City,
I panicked. I'm like, did I hear the wrong thing? What did I do wrong? So what's your problem? Because they had to leapfrog a pick to get their guy?
You give up an extra first round pick?
Was that what it was? Multiple
move
first
one
round
spot?
picks.
Multiple firsts.
I mean, look, they have like 47 first round picks in the next 8 drafts. So like whatever, I guess. But I don't look here's the real thing. I don't have that high of a grade on Ousmane Dieng. I have him at 16 overall. I think that I'm 20. A little bit lower. Before we dive into why Spins, where do you have him?
16 or 17. Yeah.
So before we dive into why, I do just want to note there are contextual factors with Ousmane Dieng to consider. He was largely, living out of a hotel room this year in a new country where there was a language barrier, like, spoke English, but like there is a cultural barrier, a language barrier, coming from France down to Australia, playing for a bad team, playing for a team that literally was like not in its country for a large portion of the year. It's very similar to the Zaire Williams thing last year, where he was in, Oklahoma City is still on the clock, apparently. This might be like just multiple different first round.
Is this like flip-flop, snip, snap. Is it weird, though, with Oklahoma City? Are they like compiling this ultimate roster of like beautiful misfit toys? Is this like Toy Story, like under Spike's bed, like all those guys like crawl out and it's like, there's Oklahoma City. Like, does it fit? Not at all. But like, absolutely at the same time. That's what I think is cool about it.
It's very clear what they want. They want guys that are big, they have positional size, they can dribble, pass, shoot, and defend. Like, that's their whole thing. It's why they like Josh Giddey last year. It's why they like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, this is it. This is what they do now. Like, I know that when Fred Katz was on the show a couple weeks ago, we talked about the Andre Robertson and Josh Eustace All-Stars that were like 6'7" to 6'8", that like were athletes and great defenders, but didn't have any ball skills. They've gone totally away from that at this point.
Yes and no, but at the same time, we're talking about length, and I'm drawn to the Raptors press conference. It's eluding me who said the quote, but I think it was the GM, maybe assistant GM. But he said something along the lines of like, we want people who can dribble, pass, they can shoot, like great, like whatever. Is this like Raptors-y in that let's get the longest, tallest team that has decent ball skills, we'll teach them how to shoot because we believe in it? It is. I hate saying the Golden State thing because they're just so different with like their shooters, but the game has changed. Be versatile, have bigs that can be multi-spot. That's what stands out to me with sort of this pick. Would I give up multiple firsts? No, I'm also not a GM. Sam, you talk to it. When you have this many picks, you have the luxury of being able to do that if you want to. I just don't covet Ousmane Dieng that way. There's a lot of people that had him in the top 10. So maybe that was Oklahoma City said, that guy's 8. If we can get him at 11, like we got to do it. We got to leapfrog one spot.
Yeah, Spins. Can you break down Ousmane Dieng in terms of his game? I have to use the toilet. I will momentarily. But
this is like
in
toll booths, and people are like, where do you go to the bathroom when you're in there? It's like, it's actually just around the corner, but you can wear a diaper if you want. Go ahead, Sam. You're off the clock. Let that cat in. Spins, hit me on Ousmane Dieng.
We got it. So, like, first thought here is that Oklahoma City's got to be going, if they're keeping this pick at 12, I think they're going with another long-armed, lanky, like a wing that fits next to SGA, Giddey, and Chet, right? So, that's what I would think moving forward here and looking at 12 if they're keeping both. Ousmane Dieng, kind of a different type of prospect, super, super long, actually plays pretty low to the ground and has some fluidity off the bounce. I think of him as more of a really big kind of point guard, combo guard, almost like a Nick Batum-ish defender who's really
like
best served defending smaller guys and using his length to his advantage, but very skinny, not very strong right now, and doesn't play a super physical style, like relies on floaters a lot more than he does.
And it's like a weird floater too. It's like
It is.
not from like 6 feet, it's from like 10 feet, like kind of like leans in and pushes it. I'll give him credit. I went back and I think a lot of people did. He was slow to start the second half of the year. Like a lot of these guys, they're younger and they got more accustomed to the physicality. I'm worried about that. Like I'm worried about him being that size and going to the paint like an extra step and finishing through contact. Is the jumper better? It's kind of like a weird like fling across the side of the face. Defensively, is he going to be overpowered and hunted in the front court because of that frame?